Tracie Matthews, founder of Intuitive Motion Pilates. Welcome to my Move Well video series on Instagram Live. Let me introduce you to a recent client of mine, Sandra Bruening, a scientist of neuropharmacology. Sandra is originally from Michigan, but has been a full-fledged New Yorker for 20 years, a known foodie and cat parent. We love cats. Sandra is sharing her injury and healing story from patellofemoral pain syndrome with fat pad involvement. So what is PS? Patellofemoral pain syndrome is also known as runner's knee and typically takes 6 to 8 weeks to heal. According to runnersworld.com, 42% of all overuse injuries affect the knee joint, and patellofemoral pain syndrome, or runner's knee as it's commonly known, is the most common overuse injury among runners. In addition to runner's knee, Sandra has fat pad involvement, and that was an injury new to me. So I did my research and found fat pad pain is extremely debilitating and limiting to one's movement and recovery. So welcome, Sandra.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Please tell us about your injury experience. When did you first get diagnosed?
I first got diagnosed about over 2 years ago in April 2018.
And what was the inciting incident that brought on your pain?
I was very active, and at that time I was doing a lot of walking and cycling. And one day I was in the gym walking uphill on a treadmill, and I noticed some burning in my knee. It wasn't terrible, so I just kind of kept going and pushed through the pain. So that was the only feeling I had that led me to believe that's where the injury started. And then over the next couple of weeks, it got really bad to the point where I think within a month of that, I could barely walk.
Oh, wow. It really is a debilitating condition for people.
Yeah.
And so the presenting symptoms was burning and pain, and within a month you were no longer able to work.
Yeah, basically I had a lot of problems standing. My knees and legs felt extremely unstable. And then I also had a lot of problems sitting in a chair because I had extreme pain when my legs were bent at 90 degrees. So it made working pretty much impossible because at that point I needed to be able to walk and sit. And I really couldn't do either one of those things anymore. I had to spend a lot of time lying on my side. That was kind of the only way I was comfortable.
So they talk about patellofemoral pain is that it's usually bothersome when your leg is straight, but you also had a lot of pain when your knee was bent. So that's an uncommon symptom. And did you go to the doctors? Did you pursue medical help?
Yes, I saw a rehabilitation medicine doctor. He suggested that I start physical therapy and also that I get corticosteroid injections in my knee.
And did you do both those options?
I did. The steroid injections went very badly. I had a really terrible reaction to them, and my knees were swollen like to the size of grapefruits and very on fire. So that was very bad. And then I started going to PT after that subsided.
Okay. And what kind of PT did you go to? Because there's so many options out there.
Right. I went to one of those kind of really busy clinics where you see the PT person for about 10 or 15 minutes at the beginning of the session, and then they kind of let you loose into the gym and to do a number of different exercises. I didn't feel that it went very well because I felt like I was doing exercises that were causing me to be re-injured or weren't allowing me to heal because they were too intense for the stage I was at in my recovery.
Yes, I understand that from our work together post that meeting you. So after you had the failed injections, and I guess it was also a failed PT experience in the beginning, I'm kind of answering my own question. My next question is, why did you seek out Pilates as a resource for rehab?
Right. I decided, I wanted to try something else. Like I didn't love the PT, and I had heard of other people who have my issue. I had heard of other people that had tried Pilates. I was desperate. And I'm not the kind of person who ever really believed that Pilates would ever help me. So it was a kind of a desperate move. And then when I started researching people, I found you and I saw that you were like a rehabilitation Pilates person. So that kind of inspired me to choose to work with you.
Thank you for finding me.
Thank you.
And, so I remember when we met, patellofemoral syndrome is very popular, knee injury, runner's knee. But the fat pad involvement was a new thing for me, and I had to research it. And I remember when I read about it, my heart broke, because there was really no discernible recovery plan anywhere that I could find, like exercise plan or anything that was like, oh, well, you do this and you're going to get better. It was like, oh, most people get better quickly, but there wasn't really anything clear in it. And then reading how it acts, it's an inflammation of the fat pad in the knee joint between the femur, behind, under the kneecap, and and the tibia. It's just like kind of balloons out a little, and it's getting pinched when you're moving. And watching you do your Pilates and train with me, and how protective you were, and you had that classic taping that they do for the fat pad aspect of the injury, which was really helpful, and I thought that was genius, whoever came up with that. I'm sure some PT came up with that. And just so you know, we do support PT. It's not all negative. I found that from my perspective, what was missing in your movement organization was holding your weight bearing off of your shins. Like you would stand and your weight, it was like your muscles had atrophied a little bit. Also, you did not have a sense of your fascia and your different girdles in the body. There's the shoulder girdle, the pelvic girdle. There's all these girdles in the body that come together and help us support our weight bearing against gravity. And if you're not in tune with those, or not like connecting muscularly and fascially into your body, your weight just kind of crushes down and you're heavier than you need to be as you move. And with that injury, that just would make it worse. One of the things that we worked on in Pilates was just getting familiar with finding and controlling your muscles, which is Pilates is brilliant at. And then we also added in more fascia connectivity and breathing, because breathing is important, and connecting the back chain of the fascia and the front chain of the fascia, and how that can lift you and support you without you having to be held in your muscles. That your muscles didn't have to be over-engaged for you to feel support. And I think that was a new concept for you. Now, this is my professional opinion of what we did. I would love to hear your client version of what we did.
Yeah, it was interesting because I didn't know much about that part of the body, the fascia part of the body. For me, what was important was finding someone who wasn't going to push me into pain, which is something you never did. You never like made me do an exercise, because I just had the experience of the PT person kind of pushing me into exercises that I wasn't comfortable with that were causing discomfort. You never did that, so I was able to really build trust with you. And that was really important for me, because it was a high anxiety situation by then for me. You also were really good at educating me about these new things that you were just talking about, so that having that understanding of my body allowed me a little bit of a sense of control over what was happening or something like that. It just made me more comfortable, and that was really important for me then.
Yes. Some of the things I appreciate, trust that anybody I work with, especially when I was working with you, that you give me the trust to educate you on the exercises, teach you the choreography, and then also slowly nurture you into challenge.
Yeah.
and little bits. And I think one of the milestones that we had was, like, I remember when you came back to a session and you had walked around a block, like without pain. Like a whole block without pain. That was like a huge milestone. And just to give the viewers a timeline retrospective, I introduced, that runner's knee typically takes 6 to 8 weeks to heal. Right. You're, I think, in that category considered the exception, but I think there's more people like you than there are that recover so quickly. So tell them your timeline. Like, when did this all start for you?
Right. So this started back in April 2018, and then I met Tracie in May 2019. When I met Tracie, I was still very, very limited. Like my quality of life was quite poor. I couldn't walk around the block. I couldn't stand in place for more than, I don't know, 5 seconds maybe. I wouldn't walk without shoes on ever. I just couldn't really
I
remember
forgot about that.
when I wouldn't take off my shoes in the Pilates studio. I really just couldn't do much. And so it's been about like a little over a year, and now I'm biking. I know, it's exciting. I can stand for much longer. I can walk around the block multiple times, 4, 5, 6 times a day. My whole entire life has changed. And I just saw so much more progress the time I met you versus the first year that I had when I didn't know you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember actually, I guess I jumped ahead. The first milestone was you not wearing shoes in the studio. That was the first milestone. Like that was where you walked in and I was like, you didn't have your shoes on. I was like, oh my God, we're making headway. That means you can bear weight through your feet and not have to have cushion underneath it. So that was huge.
Yeah.
And then you progressed more recently in the last 6 months to working your way upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah.
And those life challenges that we take for granted, that we just walk out the door and walk up the stairs and down the stairs and walk around the block or bike, getting those back into your life when you're injured are huge moments, and they should be praised and they should be celebrated, you know. And I'm really, you know, grateful to have been a part of your healing journey and that you're doing so well. And when you told me you started biking, I was like, oh my God, like you did that on your own. I didn't even suggest it. So that was incredible.
It's been really amazing.
I do want to mention that because you were in acute pain when I met you, I did refer you to a physical therapist that I know and a colleague of mine, Melanie Caminati of Inspira Physical Therapy, because she does one-on-one, hands-on, direct, no passing off and no kind of factory physical therapy setup.
Yes,
So,
it's a very different experience with her than it was at my other PT place. So yeah, she's been really great.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, that is something that I really encourage all Pilates instructors to do, is to find physical therapists that they connect with and they work well with, because we do deal with injury, but we don't do the medical stuff. We look at the body globally and we work on the movement, and there is a place for everything. And finding the right team, because we all need a team when we're injured, is really healthy. And I encourage massage and acupuncture and all those other things that go along with healing and just kind of taking care of oneself through the process. Anything else that you would like to share with the viewers?
I think just something you kind of touched on is when you're injured for so long, you can really appreciate those small milestones. And once they start coming, they really get you through. And the good thing about Pilates is that it works on your whole body. So you have other milestones that aren't even, really related to your knee. Like you can see progress in your entire body. So you can see your arms get stronger and your core gets stronger. So that kind of helps feed the positive momentum forward. So that really helped me.
I really appreciate that. And I'm glad that we're still celebrating milestones. I think there's more ahead of us. But but there's a lot behind us too. So that's good. We're in the middle right now, I think. I do want to mention a couple of things before we go, that Move Well videos will be back on August 4th with Pilates Master Yu Fujita, discussing our favorite Pilates props. We're colleagues for a long time, and we're looking forward to discussing that. And I want to thank Sandra for joining us here, and everyone for joining us today and participating in my Move Well video series on Instagram Live. And please take a moment to follow Intuitive Motion Pilates on Instagram or YouTube or both. We're on Twitter as well. We're on all the social media. You can find us. And thank you for coming to our Move Well video series. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. So we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.